Mr. Chairman, you are now live.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the June 6, 2025 Gig Harbor and Fire Medic 1 District 5 Commissioners Meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I would just note that it says June 6th, which I think is the date that it was created, not June 10th. So with that fixed, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilsey, Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Any commissioner absences coming up?
I don't know if Alex is delayed or if he's not going to make it. Why don't we table this, and at the end, if he doesn't make it, I'll make a motion that we excuse him.
Sounds good. Okay. Communications? None. Okay. Approval of minutes from the May 27th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilsey, Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Accounts payable and payroll approvals.
I'll move that we approve accounts payable checks 1771 through 1799, 1813 through 1829, checks 1800 through 1812, ACH payroll transfers as outlined in the agenda, grand total $1,935,133.58.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilsey, Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Enzi.
Yes. Local 3390, I heard from Jake, there was no report. Chief's reports, please.
Chief Booth. Okay, good evening. I wanted to update the board on the recent hirings in fire prevention and health and safety. We'll start with the bad news and then we'll finish with the good news. The bad news is that we had a conditional offer for an AA to replace Melissa, and that individual backed out about 12 hours before they were supposed to report. So, unfortunately, we've pivoted. We've reposted the announcement, and that announcement closes on June 20th. So far, we have about 20 to 25 applications, last I remember, and we're hopeful that we can find someone who's going to follow through. But the good news is that we did make a couple of conditional offers. One you've already heard about, but we have 2 employees starting next week. Yesterday, we interviewed for hydrant laborer. If you remember, that's just a part-time position over the summer. We made a conditional offer to a gentleman named AJ O'Brien, and he's going to start on the 17th of June. But the big hire is the one that's been long awaited, CJ Martin, the new public educator. And she'll be starting on Monday morning. And we want to welcome all the commissioners to come in at 8 o'clock and welcome her to the organization. So she starts this coming Monday, the 16th, correct. So 8 o'clock in this room will be a kind of a morning reception. And then she has things throughout the week, meetings with Chief Doan, HR, the local, all those types of things while we onboard CJ. And we're super excited to get that position filled. So that's it for me, unless there's any other questions.
Chief Langlow. All right, good morning. A couple updates that I have for you in no particular order. They just as I got through my calendar and wanted to fill you in on a couple things. We did have on June 3rd, we had a preseason wildland meeting here hosted at Station 50. We've done this the last couple of years, and get our county partners together, fire agencies, along with Washington State DNR, Washington EMD, Emergency Management Division, Pierce County DEM, and the Washington State Patrol, and Pierce County Sheriff, just all of our county and local and state agencies that have a part in the wildland kind of response around the area. And so we get them all in for a preseason meeting, have presentations from a handful of those agencies on kind of how their season's shaping up, getting ready to fire up the wildland season. And so we hosted that. We had probably, I would venture to guess, in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 people in attendance, which was awesome. We made it through the parking, which is a challenge right now with fencing and the limited parking, but we managed to figure it out. I didn't hear about any bulk parking tickets written by the sheriff's department when they were here, so I think we're okay. We had a meeting on June 4th with Gig Harbor PD, Department of Ecology, the fire department, about response protocols in the harbor. So Chief Busey called a meeting and wanted to get together, make sure we were on the same page with response processes in the harbor, and specifically how we were going to respond to events should we need the DOE spill trailer that we have jointly, and just kind of whose jurisdiction and how we want to navigate that. Not because of an acute event, but just to be on the same page. Couple projects we've been working on, you guys are hopefully you're aware of, but we had our Gig Fest last weekend, Maritime Gig Festival, and we put together a unified incident management team with Gig Harbor PD and Gig Harbor Public Works over the weekend. Chief Oldenburg was the plant section chief. I was in unified command with Gig Harbor PD and Public Works. Chief Johnson was the liaison officer, and we had a handful of other roles filled. But first time we've really put all of those players together in one command post to have the event. Really, really good feedback that we've gotten both internally and externally. We are planning an after action middle of July 14th, I think, and we'll get those players together and see how did we do? What do we want to do different next time? But really, really positive feedback so far. One of the things that's pretty cool that came out of that as we were preparing is we spent some time with Gig Harbor Public Works doing some portable radio training. We loaned them some of our portable radios for the event, and they'd never gone through that with us. And so it's just good to put names with faces and develop relationships, and worked out really well. We are working, as the commissioners are well aware, we've been in the wildland deployment state mode business for a long, long time, very active in that. And we are adding one more piece to that this year, and that's single role paramedics that are going to have the opportunity to deploy should they be requested. And so one of our paramedics, Dana Parolo, is a medical unit leader in the ICS structure. And and he wants to bring this single role line paramedic program to Gig Harbor, which we're going to try this year. And so essentially what it allows our folks to do is they'll be deployed as single unit paramedics to help assist on the fire line should a firefighter or somebody from the incident management team get injured. They can go out and render care, get them packaged and ready to go, and then they wouldn't be the ones transporting. They're just taking care of the people on the fire line. And so we're going to do that this year. It's been a really good collaboration between us, the State Department of Health, Pierce County EMS, and then our own internal team. There's a lot of moving parts to make sure that our folks can go operate outside of Pierce County, but also be protected by Pierce County protocols, and making sure that we have all of our steps in a row. Everybody, all those agencies have been very supportive, but there's just some steps we got to get through because we've never done it. And so we'll be the first agency in Pierce County to do it. King County has been doing it for quite a long time, but we'll be the first agency in Pierce County. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then two last things I wanted to mention. I think I heard talking about it a little bit earlier, but on a sad note, we did have a double fatality last Friday, June 6th on Soundview Drive. And so our crews responded to that. We had 3 engine companies and 2 medic units and our battalion chief respond to that with Gig Harbor PD. And so I think you probably have seen that through social media or some of the discussion going on. Crews are doing as well as can be expected. And so BC Voight's been really intentional about making sure to check in with his folks to make sure they're doing okay, or as can be expected. And so that we did respond to that last Friday. And then the last thing, and on a positive note, while I don't have the specific how the patient is doing specifically, but Gig Harbor PD used one of the AEDs that we surplus to them on a patient last week. So just perfect example of collaboration, and it made a difference. And so they did use one of their AEDs that the patrol officer deployed when they responded to the call before we got there.
You had, just in regards to the gig, and I don't maybe not take thunder from you, but you guys, I saw a nice letter from the Chamber of Commerce from President and CEO Marion in regards to all you, the three of you units working together. So on there, so that's nice. Okay.
Chief Oldenburg.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just have one topic to update you on. We've been talking about the lateral hiring process for line firefighters for a while. That closed Friday. We ended up with 53 applications from all across the United States. So we're very pleased with that. We're moving forward with the video-based interviews, in-person interviews, and the chief's interviews. So we're excited to get some new hires in, and we had very good response. So we're super excited.
Great. And while logistics and IT and all the deputy chiefs were in the incident command post, I was rightly in my right position in the parade and judging where I could be most useful. And then also last Monday, I attended and spoke at the Pierce County Council meeting on Fox Island. I went to the groundbreaking for the Bates Training Center, and that's pretty exciting to see their work. And with some of you, we had Craig McLaughlin had sponsored a lunch event at his home for the fire department, and it was really well attended, and everybody appreciated it. We're writing up a thank you letter. Engine 51 gave me a challenge coin to give to him, so it was a really fun and great event, and we really appreciated that. We had the Fox Island Fire Station open house, which was really well attended. All of us there spent a lot of time escorting people around and talking about the bond and the levies and the facilities. Today I attended, Councilmember Jenny Wook invited me to speak at her open house with constituents. I went there, and Chief Johnson and I met with Representative Addison Richardson to talk about some of our EV requirements at Station 51, to try to, sometimes there's unintended consequences of legislation. We completely support the EV, but because we're required to put so many parking spots in, we were required to put a whole lot of EV in there also. So we were just discussing with him that maybe there could be some legislative change in the future. So we're working with him on that. Tomorrow, as administration, as chiefs, we are hosting a barbecue for all the employees here. Welcome back. And logistics is helping us. And as command staff, we're going to be flipping some burgers for lunch tomorrow. And you're invited and welcome to be here tomorrow. We also have labor management. This Friday is the union will be doing the Fill the Boot for MDA. So we'll be out supporting them and helping them. Next week, I'll be attending the Penn Met Parks Rec Center ribbon cutting. As Chief Oldenburg talked about, we have the last week in June. I'll be doing, Chief Langlow and I will be doing the chief's interview for the laterals. One thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is I'll be asking the Policy and Procedure Committee, which is Commissioner Nelson and Commissioner Wilsey. We've taken the first run at the 1000s of the policies. I looked at them. It still says that you'll meet on Mondays at 3 and no longer than an hour. It also has everybody's names for like Case Bolt in there. So it needs to be updated. Although I'd say the policy and procedures are really good, there's just some things that need to be updated. So we're going to take a first shot at it, get it to the policy committee, let them give us feedback, and then we'll bring that to the full board in the next few months. So I'll be working with them to get a first meeting. On the WSRB front, I hate to bring it up, but I do want to give you some good news. I got a call from the Office of Insurance Commissioner last week that the work that we've been doing with OIC on WSRB is having results. In fact, they want to work on legislation to have more oversight with them. They have also commissioned a study to look at WSRB and maybe even rewrite their schedule. So I'm excited about that. They've asked me to help them come up with some people and some consultants to do that work. And so I'm working with OIC on there. So as frustrating as it's been, we might be the first and only state in the nation to correct this problem. So
Are they nationwide?
they're not, is it 5 or 7 states? Do you guys know? Is it 5 states that aren't, why can't I think of ISO? So ISO is nationwide, and there are a few states that have state plans, and Washington and Idaho, where I came from, both have state plans. They follow the same guidelines. And that would be a really difficult hill to climb to change the 45 or 47 other states, but we have an opportunity to change one.
So we can worry about.
Yeah. Last but not least, I wanted to let you know that if you remember right, about a year ago, Pierce County in the 700 system, the radios charged us, went from $80,000 to $200,000. If you remember right, over $200,000. We and you supported me by that we would only pay the $80,000, not the $220,000. I've been talking to the new DEM director about that. What are we going to do moving forward? Is that going to compound? What happens next year? What happens to the old bill? Because they're still billing us at $220, even though we paid $80,000. And that's still in front of us. The Pierce County went to South Sound 911 last week and asked them to give them, I think it was $1.2 million to the PSCOC. The PSCOC said no. It'll still go to the South Sound 911 board. Now, I don't believe it's the right use of funds to use South Sound 911 to supplement the county, and I agree with PSCOC, but what's happening is all the people that have left the county system and went to the 800 to the Tacoma system is leaving a smaller and smaller portion to pay for a larger and larger infrastructure. So I don't know what's going to happen if South Sound 911 doesn't supplement them, which I actually don't think it's the proper use of South Sound 911 funds. The county may charge us. Who knows what they're going to charge us? But our user fees are out of control. And so I just wanted you to know that we do still have an outstanding bill out there. Other departments haven't paid. Some don't pay it at all. They haven't paid for years. They just don't pay. There was a public information request and I got it. And there are some small departments that just literally don't pay. And there are a few of us like Ashford, LB, and Gig Harbor and Key Penn that paid the old rate. So anyway, it's just hanging out there. I know it makes Crystal nervous having a bill that we haven't paid, but I wanted to update you on that. And I've talked to Robin Denson, our county council member. She can't forgive a bill by herself, but she says, "Don't worry about it. We'll get through this." But there needs to be some resolution in the next couple of years, next couple of months, really. And I don't know where it's headed, but I wanted to update you on that. That's all I have for updates.
Questions?
We had talked about, particularly on Fox Island, trying to kind of go our own way and have some towers and be able to potentially help the Tacoma system get better coverage, and then maybe we move over to that. And is there understanding that all that takes time, energy?
Yeah.
Where are we at in that process, if at all?
I'm going to let Travis and Chief Oldenburg answer it better than I, but they did decide not to put the tower up at Fox Island, and they went back to McNeil Island. So that opportunity went away. and I would still say towers are a possibility.
Yeah, Commissioner, during our process, Tacoma was much more involved when it was a Station 53 conversation where they would be moving off of McNeil Island. So, and that was one of the very prime locations. We did look at the entire district, right? And we did analysis, we did drive testing, we did frequency band spectrum analysis, and all those things. During this exact same time, I don't know if we reported on it, but we were testing some AT&T FirstNet devices called the HPUEs. And they're kind of like the mobile Wi-Fi's, right? They're looking for broadband or cellular connectivity as we drive around. Because it was in the FirstNet spectrum and it's a FirstNet device, it's authorized to have a much higher power output than a regular device, the ones that we were previously using. And when we did the drive testing with that device in our vehicle, we were able to get connection almost everywhere in our district from cellular. So when we got to the end, I would say the end, but when we gathered all of this information and we're like, do we want to start down this construction project of 5 to 6 tower building sites, each of them $400,000 to $600,000, or we manage or oversee other telecommunication companies building those? When we looked at all of that and just the time and energy and everything that's going on in the district right now, it was overwhelming, the amount of work that we'd still have to do. And then this other product got us connectivity, and we put those in every vehicle we have. Subsequent conversations with our partners that were on that project with us, which was Penn Light and Peninsula School District. Peninsula School District put this same AT&T device in all of their buses. So I think they put in like 100 units. And last we heard, I believe Travis is here, I think Penn Light was looking at some of the same type of technology and stuff because, and to build on that, I don't know how relevant fixed infrastructure is going to be in the long run, because they are launching low orbit satellites, broadband satellites continuously. And so at some point in time here in the near future, we may just be able to get the connectivity we want by pointing up to the satellites and stuff. And so this kind of bought us a period of time without the heavy workload. And so we just kind of paused that, but we did get good feedback there. We went to 3 or 4 tower construction vendors. We went to the major cell carriers, and across the spectrum, a number of those are very interested in our fire department locations, but it comes with just the challenge of managing something like that. Yeah.
My concern, I guess the fundamental question is understanding that there's an upfront cost in doing that, which obviously is whatever that number is. If the county is going to jack the rates on the radios up continuously, at some point you look at, okay, over a number of years with the county, even with an upfront cost, if we move to a system that's less expensive, there's a tipping point somewhere down the line is I guess what I'm saying. And I don't know what that is. If the tipping point is 50 years from now, well, then obviously it's not a wise investment. If the county continues to jack up the rates and the tipping point is, 10 years from now, well, maybe then it becomes a conversation worth having, I guess, is the only thing that I would say. And I don't know what the answer is, and I don't expect anybody in this room to know what the answer is. I just am kind of throwing that out there as maybe something to think about. But obviously we don't know what the county's going to do with the radio rates going forward.
Yeah, and I think part of the challenge is what that looks like, right? Because we can't really. The county owns the 700 megahertz system, so really we only have 2 options right now. It's either you leave the 700 system or you put more money into it in our jurisdiction to build more towers to increase the coverage, right? But to move off of the 700 system, we'd have to build 100% standalone infrastructure to include, and then we'd have to tie that into the dispatching center because South Sound 911 just takes in those current systems. So we were always looking at how can we augment what we have in the broadband spectrum. So the cellular spectrum. I individually, I personally believe at some time, and I can't tell you when that will be, but at some point in time, public safety, probably led by fire jurisdictions, will start heavily considering moving away from land mobile radio systems like 700 and 800 and start leveraging and looking at working with cellular carriers, because they're building out infrastructure and they can't be down because it's a money-making business. And so how can we join together? Culturally, I just don't think we're in a space where people would accept the fact that we don't have a handheld radio and I'm using a different type of device, right, that works off broadband or cellular. But it's going to come because they're very, very close right now. So I think we would potentially try to augment some of that. We are in discussions right now. Actually, we're building it out. So today, four of us loaded it on our cell phones, a product that Dennis and I are familiar with, the chief and I are familiar with from our previous work. We can talk on the 700 cellular, or we can talk on our 700 megahertz system through cellular connections. It's an application on the phone. So I can take my phone right now, I can hold it up here and I can push the button, and if it'll go out over the cellular, go back into South Sound 911 and come across our 700 system on the channels we have. So we are actively trying to implement and install that here, because that connectivity that we're getting through AT&T and other devices that we've changed will allow us to get other ways to get back into our system.
Perry, our Chief Oldenburg hit it really well there. You know, what we were weighing is, do we put that money into that infrastructure when I actually think the LTE world is going to surpass the LMR world, that we're going to be moving to LTE? And would that LMR money infrastructure be wasted? So we just got to decide if we're going to be first to jump. And and Chief Oldenburg's right. I think it's coming really, really, really quickly. That this and the radios are coming together into one unit. We just need the handheld piece. If they could make a handheld piece for this radio or for this phone, we'd be there. But it's getting close. And so we fixed a lot of our connectivity issues with those HPEUs. And then we're like, man, do we want to put that much money? Or even if we let a company do it for no money, we would still have contracts and on our stations and on our properties. And maybe we can just buy ourselves some time with what we've done. And we might actually have a really, really cheap option coming up very soon.
Okay.
And it's going so fast that I don't want to give a time frame on it, but we had a friend here this last weekend that is in that world, that his advice was just wait just a little bit longer, because it's coming really, really quick. It's interesting.
Yeah, I can
It's crazy.
send texts via satellite
Yeah.
on my phone
Uh-huh.
when I have zero cell coverage.
Yeah.
So it's coming fast.
Okay, thanks.
I think all good. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was a lot, but I'm glad we covered that a little bit. There's two things, you know, there's the 700, the 800, the bill, the money, the future, the technology. And thanks for letting us cover that too. It's interesting. And to tell you the truth, Travis and Chief Oldenburg, we're way ahead of most fire departments on this. Central Pierce is doing a lot of pretty cool stuff in this space, but they're way ahead of everybody else. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything on standing committee reports? Okay. Chairman's report, nothing. Bond update.
All right, good evening. As normal, work through the projects. So I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but 53 and 57, we are still working on closing out paperwork. Going in, it kind of was the same thing with the contractor, help them along, trying to push them along. And now we're doing the same to close out that paperwork and keep nudging, and we're going to get there. Training campus, if you haven't seen anything with the weekly update or just driving through the back parking lot at 58, there's a lot going on and a lot going on quickly. One of the things you don't see is a retention pond in the very back corner of the parking lot. Both the existing ponds have been cleaned out, and we're starting to add the third one that we're required to. So a lot's going on back there. Interior framing of the support building is complete, starting to get sheeted. The drywall is starting to go up in certain places so that the fire sprinkler work can start, because it needs to get above the fire sprinkler work. The tower, there's some finishing waterproofing going on. Just today, watching the steel erection company work. This morning when I came in, there were 3 columns up, and I believe there's 8 or 9 of them up now. As we walked down this morning, they started tying one of the columns. There's 3 gentlemen tying rebar, and it took them 20 minutes to tie one of the columns. So they're not wasting time, and all of those columns go up as soon as they get tied. The other stuff that's going on in the tower, they're removing some of the supports and then resupporting floor 1, that concrete floor that you see up top now. And then they're forming some of the stairs. Tomorrow we're doing a walkthrough with training, logistics, and IT. Just kind of go room by room and look and see what we have going in and if we need to add or take away things, because right now is the time. The walls aren't closed up yet. And then Thursday, for both buildings, I'll be walking through with our structural engineer, and she is just here on her monthly visit, and we revisit everything that has been done in that month to make sure everything's done right, even though our contractor is doing a great job of, as we have a major element completed, they send photos to her and everything gets checked off. It's just a check off again that they're walking through. And then kind of the third check off is we actually have somebody else, an outside agency that we have to hire that looks at all of those things as well. So everything is looked at by multiple people. So lots going on in the tower. As I've said before, if any of you want the walkthrough, let me know. I'm down there literally every day. I drug Chief Doan down there with me today and made him get all dusty. So he wasn't happy with me on that one. 5.0. So the electrical panel in the room behind us was replaced. If you remember right, that came from the factory. We found some defaults in the fact that the breakers were melting down. So we shut those down, which then shut some of the mechanical units down. They next day aired it last week. It got replaced. And now we're just working through some other mechanical issues that we found today. So that'll hopefully get all fixed here soon. We did have a walkthrough at 5.0 today with the mechanical and the electrical engineers to address some of those things and find things that were missing. Logistics added carpet to the back room here and what will be a conference room, which was the library. So gray carpet is down with gray cove. And then while they were here, they finished the cove out at the reception area. So those are all done. They look great. 51. So more approvals rolling in. So last week we had got an approval. We had some variances for the frontage improvements at Kimball. We got those signed off with what we wanted. Those returned. We returned permitting comments last week. So just waiting to hear back, and I'll be visiting the city and they know that I'm coming and we're all good there. And then today, to address some of those things, as Chief Doan mentioned, we met with State Representative Addison Richards to kind of discuss some EV challenges, probably some things that weren't looked at before the state adopted the new energy and electrical code, which have to do with public buildings and gifting, in essence, of electricity to someone that wants to come in, because we're required to put in EV charging stations that are accessible. Well, in order to do that, they're hooked up to our power, which we pay, the citizens pay for. There's some ways, but it is time consuming to take care of all that. So we're just looking for some assistance potentially in the future. I think we're stuck with what we have right now, but we'll work through it. That concludes the report, and I'll take any questions if you have it.
To add on to that, we're Chief Johnson's, we're required to put 58 parking spots in right now. And then you have to put 10% in EV. So we're going to work with the city to try to reduce that 58. At first, we didn't think, okay, fine, we'll just put them in and then paint over them later. Well, now because of the percentage and the costs that many, we're actually going to try to get them reduced to what we really should. I don't know if they'll let us, but
So as Chief Down's saying, the 58 parking spots. So the city of Gig Harbor has an ordinance that really, it's one of those not insightful things that they have a specific code, and parking spots are based on square footage. Fire stations are large. It's a 20,000 square foot building. There's a parking spot for every 300 square feet, which worked out to 58 parking spots. The maximum number of people that we're estimating we will have in the building at shift change with the station fully staffed with a full truck company is 10. Then an oncoming shift of 10, that's 20. We throw in a couple more visitors, we're at 22. We have 24 spots on the south side of the building. There's some things that middle of the night I come up with and try and talk to them, but I don't know that they accounted for the parking spots that are currently inside the building in the out bay either. So I'm working, and we'll meet with the city and see what we can do.
back of the napkin timeline, July-ish,
Yep.
go
We're
out to
yeah,
bid, then
still
it's
there.
out to bid for 30 days. Then we got to look at it. Then we'll bring it to the board meeting. So that's August, September. Then they get a spool up. So it's going to be, it could be on the ground by the end of the year.
Oh yeah. On the ground, once they start, it is not going to, and we get out of their way.
Yeah.
It will not take them long to drop that building and clear the site. It will be a constant flow of vehicles removing debris from the building. So, thank you.
Thank you, JJ. Anything else for anybody? No. Okay. Old business, I see none. New business, I see none.
Kevin, can I, at this point, I had mentioned at the beginning, we would come back to commissioner
Yes.
absences. I would just, well, two things. One, I would make a motion that we excuse Commissioner Wilsey's absence today.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second in regards to the excusing Commissioner Wilsey for his absence. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Urvina,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich, Chairman Enzi.
Yes,
And then I will be out of town and unavailable at our next meeting.
at our next meeting?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, open public comment. As part of the meeting is if you have something you'd like to bring to this board, we ask that you state your name for the record and you'll have 3 minutes. Nothing? Okay. Good of the order. Special events, upcoming interest, the spring conference is already done. Okay, the next thing would be on the 17th, and that's the ribbon cutting for the Penman's Park Recreation Center. That's on the 17th at 4:30 p.m. Anything else for anybody? All right. No other business coming forward with this. Meeting